What I have here is the it's a vacuum brake bleeder. Just bought this from Harbor Freight. This way you don't spill any fluid all over the place. You take this end here, hook this on the line like that, and this end goes on your bleeder screw. You crack the bleeder loose and hook an air line here, and squeeze the handle, and it pulls the fluid from the master cylinder through the brake system and out the bleeder screw. That way you can lock this and just let this go, and you just keep adding a little bit of fluid to your reservoir here for your rear master cylinder, and by the time you get, I don't know, half a pint of fluid through, you know the whole system is flushed and everything else. So get this put on there, and I'll be right back. Brake fluid in here. Let's fill this up with fresh brake fluid. Here we go. Crack that loose. Little rubber cap on there. Open this up. And just start sucking it out. You can see the fluid going down in the reservoir. All right, put some more fluid in. can see the fluid that I sucked through there. This is not a very big part of the system, so that's probably, oh, used a half a pint of fluid. You can see how easy that is. And then let's crack this bleeder loose over here. Make sure we don't have any possibility of air in it. It'll gravity bleed just a little bit. Push this brake pedal here. You hear the pads coming out, contacting the rotor. Make sure there's no air in there. It's all wiped off good. Yep. Okay. Cap back on the bleeder screw. That back on. Wipe this cover off here. It's got a little sight glass in it, in the cover here that you can see. And when you put your finger over the hole, put your finger over the end of it, how it darkens up. Well, that tells you your fluid is okay, your fluid level in your reservoir is okay. When it gets low, it lights up like that, just like the old AC Delco batteries used to do. We'll put this cover back on. Add just a little bit more fluid to that. There we go. Okay. When you tighten these screws down, they don't need to be super tight. As long as they're good and snug, well, you're good. Like that. There we go. And one thing yesterday, it might not have been very clear where I was putting this gauge here when I was checking the alignment for the wheel. When I took this cover off, and this is the bolt that goes through the swing arm and through the frame to hold the swing arm on. And this is what I was putting this on, just like that there, to the center of the axle. And as long as it's the same length on both sides, and like I said, you check your belt tracking, that's all there is to that. All right, got the front brakes all bled too. So the brake system is done. Now I got to change the oil. Harley Davidson is basically, they use what they call a dry sump system, whereas the engine has no reservoir for it to hold oil. That's why you have this right here, this tank. This is your oil tank. This is where the oil is stored. It's got a pump underneath this cover that scavenges oil out of the crankcase, pumps it back to the tank in this line here, and then it sucks the oil back into the motor through this line here out the bottom of the tank. So to drain your oil tank, on the Softails they have a rubber hose that comes out of the bottom of the oil tank and comes down here to the bottom of the frame, and there's a plug on it. And all you have to do is take that plug loose, and out comes your oil. Crack that loose so that it gets a little air. And these drain plugs have little magnets on them, and I always give them a wipe to see what's on there. The crankcase has a plug in the very bottom of it, but you can remove that bottom plug. You might get, I don't know, a couple teaspoons of oil out of it. The only reason you really check that plug is if you have a sumping problem where your oil is not getting pumped out of the motor for some odd reason, or you want to check for a problem like that. Then you pull the oil out, you pull that plug out of the bottom of the case, and you actually see how much oil is coming out of it. And if you have a sumping problem, why there's a problem in behind this timing cover here with your oil pump. I'll let that drain, and we'll get the filter off. I'll bring you over to the other side, and we'll get the filter off. I'll be right back. All right, down at the front of the motor now. This is your oil filter right down here, and I don't care what you do, no matter how hard you try, you're not gonna keep from making a mess. It just is what it is. Every time you change the oil filter, why you're gonna make a mess. You can stuff rags down in there. Harley sells a little spout thing that supposedly helps with that problem, but I haven't had much success. So whenever I change the oil, I just plan on having to clean up afterwards. This is one of them deals, you can't get away from it. Get this oil filter screwed off of here. There we go. Accumulates right there. There's no getting around it. Nothing you're going to do about it. Get some more paper towel here. Wipe up the best you can and get out some brake clean, and you'll end up washing. No two ways around it. So all right, got the oil filter off, and I'm going to explain a little something to you what I got on this, and I'll be right back. All right, back over at the bench here, and what I got is a cleanable oil filter. It's made by Flow Pro, and what you do is you do that like that there, and there's your filter element. You can take it apart and you can look at it, and it's a cleanable, reusable filter. Got a little magnet here on the top, so you can see if you have any, if you have something coming apart, all the metal will stick to this here, and you can look in the actual filter itself, and you can see if there's anything in there. And then what you do is you just take some brake clean and you wash it out like that. Wash it out, and then you blow it dry. And your filter element there is nice and clean. You can look down in there and see if anything is in there, if there's a bunch of metal particles or whatever. I know a lot of people don't care, but again, that's just me. If something's going wrong with the motor, the oil filter is the first place I look. It's got a spring in the bottom of it here. Take a look in the bottom of this canister to see if there's anything in there. There's really nothing in there that is alarming at all. There's a little bit, but you're always going to have some. And then take and wash this out. Like that there. And blow it dry. Take some paper towel here and wipe it off. Wipe this all off here. Got a nice rubber seal on it. Pop that seal back in. Put the spring back in the bottom. Here. It interlocks. It's got a spot with the 3 little notches in it that it interlocks. You push it down and you turn it and it's locked in. Just like that there. Clean oil filter ready to be installed. These units are a little bit expensive. They're like about 110 bucks, something like that, I think, when I bought this one. But I mean, every time you have to go to the dealer or auto parts store to buy a filter, for a black one it was like $15. If you wanted a chrome one, those were about $22. So I mean, by the time you do 5 oil changes, why, you got this paid for. Plus it's billet aluminum, it's finned, so it helps cool the oil a little better. It's just a pretty good deal all the way around, I think. So I'm gonna get the bike cleaned up there in the front from what oil I spilled, get that put back on, and I'll be back. All right, I'm back over at the motorcycle. Put some oil in it, and we'll start it up, check it for leaks. It holds 3 quarts of oil with a filter. Three quarts of oil on all soft tail models, and the big touring bikes are between 4 and 5, depending on what year and what what size engine it has in it and that kind of thing. most of them are 4. Alrighty. 3/4 there. Yeah, we're a little above the full line, but I haven't started it yet either, so. Let me crack that door open, we'll start it up here. Check the oil now once here. See what it looks like. Yeah, it's reading over full, but if you see this mark right here, this is a quart low, this is full, but that's on the motorcycle on the ground on a side stand. So the oil was about here on a stick, so it's pretty close. Once I get it down off the stand here, well, I'll check it. I'll recheck it and make sure it's good. Now the only thing I got left to do is drain the primary and adjust the clutch. And I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back over at the motorcycle here. This is the primary cover right here. And the primary cover's got a drain plug on the bottom of it. I already drained it. And this is your adjustment for your clutch cable. And I forgot to turn the camera on. My camera just shut off again. I backed this adjustment off, and there's a 11/16 nut here on the inside here. See, I'll get you a close-up picture of that. You back that nut off, and you take this screw, you turn it clockwise till it lightly seats. Then you back it off between a half and 1 turn and tighten the lock nut back up. And then you adjust your cable free play by this adjustment here. And you want to have about this much play in your clutch lever. When you have that much play in your clutch lever, well, you're good. And this down here is a variable pressure plate. It's got these weights on it here, and when this is spinning, these weights pop out. They apply centrifugal force on the clutch pack, because this has a Barnett clutch, heavy-duty clutch basket in it with a Dark Horse Crankworks compensator and stuff in it, and had the spring that Barnett supplied with the clutch basket, and I was still having problems of the clutch slipping all the time, especially wide open throttle under hard load. The clutch would slip. So I ended up getting this here. It's called a variable pressure plate, or VPC for short. It just bolts on with these bolts here. It's got 6 little 8mm screws, and that fixed it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a funnel. I got a funnel with a long spout on it here that fits down inside here, and I'm going to go ahead and fill this and then put the cover on it. And I think get this filled up here. Spring maintenance will be done on this. I'll be right back. Takes a little over a quart. Get this filled up. We put the cover on. It's got 6 little 1/4 inch bolts. Might be even like a 1024 or something like that. Just snug them up. The cover's got an O-ring on it. Cover's got an O-ring on it here that seals it, and those bolts just bolt the cover onto the primary like that. Get that finished up, and everything wiped down and cleaned up, and be ready to ride. It's a pretty nice day out today, but it's cold. It's only 35 degrees outside today. Yesterday it was 70. So I think tomorrow it's supposed to be warmer. If not, next week, Monday and Tuesday, it's supposed to be warmer. So, and I'll take it out for a drive. Take it out for a ride and see how it goes. And it'll be done. Yeah. bit more oil here. This is some Harley synthetic 2050 oil here, so top that off with this. When it's full, the oil level will just be at the bottom of this hole here, just slightly below it. You'll be able to see the oil in there. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. It's I don't know, it takes a couple, 2-3 days to do a complete service, especially when you got to change a tire. So hope you learned a little something. If you want to see something else, why let me know, and I'll be back, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. One other thing too I forgot to mention, on the steering neck you have a grease zerk here. Give that thing a couple pumps of grease every time that you service the bike. You'll see the grease coming out here. That's because these bearings have no seals on them, and what I found the best grease to use is green grease. Otherwise the like regular chassis grease and whatnot has oil in it. The oil will run out. That grease will run out when it gets hot in the summertime. This green grease doesn't run all over the place. It just pretty much stays in place. So just a little tip for you. All right, I'm out.